In this video, we'll break down species selection in a way most guides never do, comparing Douglas fir, southern yellow pine, SPF, Hem-Fir, cedar, and even hardwoods, not by marketing claims, but by stiffness, moisture behavior, availability, and long-term performance. In next video, then we'll tackle the issue that quietly causes more failures than almost anything else: moisture. You'll understand why wood shrinks, why buildings move after they're finished, why settling is usually the wrong explanation, and how professionals plan for movement instead of fighting it. When professionals choose a wood species, they are not chasing the highest strength number on a chart. They are balancing stiffness, availability, moisture behavior, durability, predictability, and cost stability. Two pieces of lumber with identical dimensions can behave completely differently once installed, even if both technically meet code. Species selection is where experience shows up, because the consequences appear slowly, not immediately. Professionals rarely ask which species is strongest. They ask how stiff it is, how consistently it performs, how much it moves as it dries, how available it is in the sizes they need, and how forgiving it will be under real job site conditions. Strength matters, but stiffness and predictability matter more. A slightly weaker but stiffer member often performs better in floors and roofs than a stronger but more flexible one. Availability matters because inconsistent supply leads to substitutions, delays, and uneven performance. Moisture behavior matters because some species tolerate drying and re-wetting far better than others. This way of thinking explains why certain species dominate structural framing while others are used sparingly or avoided altogether. Let's start with one of the most respected framing species in North America. Douglas fir larch is one of the most respected structural framing species in North America, and that reputation is earned through behavior, not marketing. Professionals choose Douglas fir because it offers high stiffness relative to its weight. It performs exceptionally well in bending, behaves predictably across long lengths, and is widely available in larger structural sizes. Those traits make it a reliable choice for floor joists, roof rafters, beams, girders, and load-bearing walls. When Douglas fir is sized correctly, floors feel solid underfoot, and spans behave the way designers expect. It holds fasteners well, resists excessive deflection, and integrates cleanly with common connectors and hardware. That said, Douglas fir is not a universal solution. Professionals avoid it in constant ground contact unless it is properly treated. They are cautious with it in high moisture exterior exposure if treatment or detailing is inadequate. Availability can also vary by region. An inconsistent supply is always a red flag in structural systems. Douglas fir performs best when it is kept dry during construction, allowed to acclimate, and detailed carefully at connections. When those conditions are met, it delivers long-term performance with very few surprises. Not every job, however, calls for finesse. Some environments demand density and brute reliability instead. Southern yellow pine is dense, strong, and unapologetically physical. Professionals don't choose it because it's elegant. They choose it because it carries load reliably where other species start to feel delicate. Southern yellow pine has very high load capacity and excellent compression strength. It performs particularly well in pressure-treated applications, which is why it shows up so often in decks, sill plates, posts, and heavy floor systems where moisture exposure is expected. In environments where water is unavoidable and loads are concentrated, southern yellow pine earns its place. It accepts treatment well, resists crushing under compression, and provides confidence in structurally demanding locations. But professionals also understand the trade-offs. Southern yellow pine is heavier and tends to move more as it dries. That movement is not a defect. It's a characteristic that must be managed. Experienced builders account for this by allowing greater spacing tolerance, sequencing enclosure carefully, and upsizing members to control movement. They don't fight the material. They plan around it. Southern yellow pine is not chosen for appearance or finesse. It is chosen for brute reliability when conditions are harsh and failure margins are thin. For much of residential construction, however, builders rely on a species group that prioritizes availability and consistency over raw strength. SPF is not a single species. It is a grading group, and professionals understand that distinction even when others don't. SPF groups together spruce, pine, and fir species that share similar structural characteristics. This grouping allows mills to supply large volumes of lumber with consistent grading, predictable performance, and stable pricing. That reliability is why SPF dominates residential construction. Professionals rely on SPF because it is widely available, cost-effective, and sufficiently stiff for most housing applications. It performs well in wall framing, interior partitions, light floor systems, and roof trusses when used within its comfort zone. SPF does have limitations, and experienced builders respect them. It is generally less stiff than Douglas fir or southern yellow pine. Instead of forcing it into long spans or heavy loads, professionals compensate by reducing spans, tightening spacing, or increasing depth. Choosing a 2x6 instead of a 2x4 is a common way to improve performance without changing species. SPF works extremely well when its limits are respected. Problems arise only when it is pushed beyond what it was intended to do. In Western regions, another group often fills a similar role, sometimes with an unfair reputation. Hem-Fir is often misunderstood, and much of its bad reputation comes from how it's handled, not how it performs. Hem-Fir is a species group commonly used in Western regions, and when selected and managed correctly, it performs comparably to SPF. It offers adequate stiffness for many framing applications and is readily available in sizes suitable for residential and light structural work. Professionals use Hem-Fir for wall framing, floor framing in moderate spans, and general structural framing where loads are well understood and movement can be managed. It is not a specialty material. It is a practical one. What professionals watch closely with Hem-Fir is moisture behavior. Hem-Fir can be more sensitive to moisture variation than some other species. If it is stored poorly, left exposed too long, or enclosed before drying can begin, movement issues show up quickly. Western red cedar is not a structural workhorse, and professionals know exactly why. Cedar is chosen for its natural resistance to decay, its ability to perform well in exterior exposure, and its stability in changing humidity. It is lightweight, dimensionally forgiving, and survives environments that quickly destroy less durable species. That combination makes cedar ideal for siding, fencing, exterior trim, pergolas, and other non-load-bearing exterior elements. In those roles, it excels. What cedar does not offer is structural stiffness or load capacity. Its fibers are less dense, and its bending resistance is significantly lower than structural framing species like Douglas fir or southern yellow pine. Because of that, professionals avoid cedar for primary framing, long spans, and load-bearing applications. Using cedar where Douglas fir belongs is not craftsmanship. It is misunderstanding the material. Cedar is selected for durability, not strength. When used accordingly, it performs beautifully. When misused structurally, it creates problems that show up slowly and expensively. Hardwoods raise similar misunderstandings, often for the opposite reason. Hardwoods are rarely used for structural framing, and that absence is deliberate. Hardwood species are strong, dense, and durable, but they come with trade-offs that make them impractical for most framing systems. Long, uniform structural lengths are difficult to source. Movement potential is higher, costs are higher, and the added strength is usually unnecessary for typical load demands. Professionals avoid hardwoods structurally not because they are inferior, but because they solve the wrong problem. Where hardwoods are used intentionally is where their characteristics actually matter. Stair treads and stringers, heavy wear surfaces, exposed architectural features, and historic restoration are common examples. In these cases, loads are localized, movement is controlled, and appearance is part of the structural decision. Hardwood grades focus on appearance and yield, not structural predictability. Professionals never assume a hardwood grade implies structural suitability. Species selection is not about maximizing numbers. It is about matching behavior to demand. Thanks for watching. If this was helpful, like the video and subscribe. More practical construction knowledge is coming very soon.